Hi, all. Welcome back to Cracking the Fang interviews. Today, I'm going to be talking about a very important topic, which is investing and growing the money you make out of Fang companies. Let's get started. And this video is applicable to anybody who is watching this, but I want to emphasize in particular, I'm going to take a case study of tech salaries, walk you through how you can save, invest, and make your money grow and eventually make you enough money that you don't have to uh, work anymore and be financially independent. All right, so before we start, let's look at the average salary of a software engineer in the San Francisco Bay Area. In San Francisco Bay Area, when you work for one of these tech companies, which are FANG companies, you're typically compensated in base pay, which is cash or your salary as you call it. Then there's a bonus, performance bonus. This can be stock or cash. Stock is also called RSUs, which is restricted stock units. So all in all, the average number that's quoted on this website called Built in San Francisco is around 176K. So assuming you make around 176K, it could be way beyond this as well in some cases. I'm just going to take this for the case study and work with this. Before we go and look into our case study, I want to briefly emphasize what are your options for growing your money. And here I'm just sort of touching through the easy options. There could be a lot more options like real estate or properties and so on, but I'm strictly gonna look into options that you can go ahead and invest at today. You don't even need to have any complications. You just sign up and you're able to do this. And before I proceed further, I want to quickly mention I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just here to help share knowledge. If you want to invest, I highly recommend you go find a financial planner and work with them. So the first method here that we're going to talk about is savings account. This is entirely liquid money. It's as if you're putting money in your bank in a different type of account called savings. No restrictions. It's pretty much like a checking account. And you get a higher interest. As of today, the interests are of the range of 0.5%. The other thing you could do is a CD, which is certificate of deposit. Here your money is locked for a period of time. It could be 1 year to 3 years and so on. Now you'd ask me, hey, if my money is locked, why should I invest in CDs and instead invest in a savings account? The answer to that is the interest rates in a savings account fluctuate over a period of time, whereas a CD, the rate and the money both are locked. So you're guaranteed a return at this rate. It's not going to go up or down, but it's sort of locked for the period of time. So I encourage you to look into both these options, which are extremely safe. Then the other option you could look at is bonds. Depending on the type of bonds you pick, the rates can fluctuate between 2 to 5% or even north of 10%. But the risk of those bonds increases. So something to bear in mind. And you can also look at bond index funds like BNDX. If you just Google this fund and try to look at it, it's a pretty decent international fund. Again, do your research, talk to your financial planner or advisor before you invest. And last but not the least, the stock market or the index funds. You can basically go sign up for apps online, Robinhood or Morgan Stanley, and start investing in stocks, handpick stocks uh, or different index funds. We'll take an example of this later and show you how you get this 7 to 10% return year over year. And number 5 is businesses. You can sort of look up online, be an investor in businesses, sort of lend them money. There's a high risk to this at the same time. It could be between negative 100% where you lose all your money to just an example, 100% your money gets doubled. So this is very variable and depends on the type of business you're investing in. And last but not the least, real estate. You can either go buy real estate and rent it out, make money out of it, or also buy index funds related to real estates like VNQ. This is Vanguard's index fund. Now let's look at the total stock market index fund that I talked about, which is VTI. And here I've taken a snapshot from Google. And if you see, the index fund has been, over the last 1 year, it's been going up ever since. The daily rate of return has been 0.61%. It started at a value of 140 on around June 2020, and April 2020 it's around somewhere around 214. So this is the most basic index fund you can look at. Again, do your research before you invest. This fund is essentially tracking the entire stock market. It's the total stock market index fund. And looking at the returns for VTI, when you go to the Vanguard's website, since inception, the average has been around 8.49%. And last year, since we hit COVID, the return was 62.75, which is huge. So simply investing in this index fund, you could have made around 60% over your money. 3-year average is around 17%, 16 for 5-year, and so on. But an average performance for this fund is around 8.49%. That's what you should keep in mind. And again, the returns can fluctuate depending on the year. So there is risk involved. So you should always consider investing a very small portion of your savings, which you get, which is going to grow and compound over a period of time. To take a more concrete example, we looked at the tech salaries and the average paycheck. Let's assume you get an average paycheck of around $10,000 a month. And if you live in the San Francisco Bay Area, you'd end up paying around 3,500 in taxes. So what you're left with by the end of paying taxes is 6,500. And you'd first have expenses, which would include your bills and rent. Let's say it's around $2,000. So you'd be left with $4,500. Now, how do you create a simple investment portfolio, right? And we're just taking baby steps here. It's going to be extremely simple. Again, you can make your portfolio as complicated with research, working with financial advisors. Please do your research before you invest. You can put 20% of your money in cash. So this is your rainy day fund, which can be used for any emergencies or any medical needs and so on. The rest of the 80% you can simply invest in some index fund like VTI, which would mean you're investing $3,600 a month into this fund. And let's assume you do this over a period of time. What would you expect for yourself is what I want to emphasize. So if you put in the same amount of money, which is $3,600 for 10 years, you'd end up investing somewhere around 435K, and which is the blue line. This is your investment line, and the money would grow up to around 633K. So this is what you would end up with by the end of 10 years. This is assuming you get an 8% annual return. So this is the power of investment. If you invest 8% in value, the money would compound over a period of time. So I highly encourage you to look into these investment options and get started today. Thank you so much for watching Cracking the Faang interviews. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel if you liked the video. Thank you.